All right, so we're diving into chapter 7 this time, and wow, there's a lot to unpack here. Immediately you get this sense of the narrator. She's really struggling with feeling kind of lost, adrift almost. And then you have these flashes of her mother, very dreamlike, almost surreal. And then bam, this really unsettling encounter at a pig farm. It's a lot to process.
It really is. It's like she's being pulled in all these different directions.
Exactly. So in this deep dive, I think what we're trying to figure out is what's going on with her. What's at the root of all these feelings and these strange, even disturbing things she's seeing. And maybe, just maybe, there's something in there for you too, listener, as you're going through this text with us.
Absolutely. I think there are some universal themes here that a lot of people might connect with, especially around, um, those feelings of isolation, wanting connection, and how the past, especially those early relationships, can really shape who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that comes through so clearly in that moment early on in the chapter, where she's in Chicago and that blind man asks her, is anybody there? It's such a simple question. But her response, I'm here, it's like loaded.
Yes.
Yes.
It's almost like a lifeline, both for him and for her in that moment.
And then she goes on to talk about how she sometimes feels like she could just disappear, like literally vanish.
Hmm.
And she says this thought, this idea of not existing can be both comforting and terrifying at the same time. I mean, talk about a contradiction.
Right. And that duality, that back and forth between wanting to escape and needing to be seen, to be real, to matter, I think it speaks to this really fragile sense of self that she seems to be wrestling with. It makes you wonder, is she constantly on this edge trying to find that balance?
It's like she's searching for something solid to hold on to. And speaking of searching, there's this whole thing with her trying to connect to her past, her family. She says she's given up on even trying to picture her father clearly in her mind. He's just father, this abstract figure. And then with her mother, it's almost like she's trying to force a connection, poring over old photos, desperately looking for some kind of resemblance.
It's like she's trying to build a foundation, but the pieces are missing.
Yeah.
And without that sense of where you come from, that rootedness in family history,
Mm.
it's understandable why she feels so so weightless. It's like she's constantly floating, never quite landing.
Yeah, there's this lack of grounding, that's for sure. And then, you have this really interesting contrast with her college roommate, whose mother is, well, let's just say a lot more present. Constant phone calls, sharing every detail, the
She
type.
overshare. Yeah.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating is that it's the smallest thing that triggers this huge emotional response in the narrator, this outpouring of tears. Her roommate's mother hands out safety pins to everyone, and bam, the waterworks. Safety pins. It's so ordinary, but for her, it's clearly symbolic of something much deeper.
I think it speaks to that lack of nurturing she experienced in her own relationship with her mother. Those little acts of care, of thinking ahead, of anticipating needs, they were absent in her life. So this simple gesture, something most people wouldn't even think twice about, becomes this symbol of everything she longed for.
And then you have Adora, the mother. No shared interests, no comfort during nightmares, never an I love you. And it's not like outright neglect. I mean, she provided for her, even bought her things like lotion, but it's this coldness, this almost business-like approach that seems even more damaging. It's like there's a wall there, an emotional barrier that's impossible to break through.
Exactly. It's that lack of warmth, of emotional intimacy. And that can be incredibly damaging, even more so than physical neglect in some ways, because it creates this sense of not being seen, not being truly valued for who you are.
And as she gets older, her understanding of her mother starts to shift. At first, she tries to make sense of it, rationalize Adora's behavior, but then she starts to suspect something else is going on, something darker. Resentment, jealousy, maybe stemming from the loss of Marion.
That's a really interesting point. It adds this whole other layer of complexity to their relationship. It's like Adora is carrying this unseen burden, and it's impacting how she interacts with her daughter, with the world.
And then there's this really disturbing memory she shares about being paraded around as the beloved daughter in public, only for Adora to completely shut down emotionally the moment they were alone. Talk about whiplash.
And of course, the child internalizes that, blames themselves. It's a classic case of, what did I do wrong? But it's not about the child at all. It's about the parent's inability to regulate their own emotions.
Absolutely. And speaking of unsettling behavior, we have to talk about that baby incident. I mean, it's burned into my memory. It's so vivid. You have Adora at this gathering, practically smothering her friend's baby with affection, and then, out of nowhere, She bites the baby's cheek. It's so bizarre, so out of place.
Right, and it just throws everything we thought we knew about Adora into question. It's like, what is going on beneath the surface? What are her motivations? What does it even mean to be maternal?
And the narrator's reaction is so telling. She immediately retreats to Marion's room, almost like she's seeking refuge from this weird, almost predatory display of, I don't even know what to call it.
It's instinctive, right? It's like her body is telling her to get out of that situation, that something isn't right.
Moving on, we have that short scene in the bar where the narrator is, well, she's basically self-medicating with alcohol, trying to lubricate against what she calls sharp thoughts.
Very relatable, I think.
Yeah.
That need to quiet the mind, numb the pain.
And then you have that rather awkward interaction with the barkeep who tries to compliment her, but it just comes out all wrong.
Yeah, it's almost cringeworthy, but in a way it highlights her isolation even more. Even in this seemingly casual setting, she can't quite connect.
It's like she's surrounded by people, but still completely alone. And then we get to the real turning point in the chapter, at least for me. She sees Amma, her half-sister, taking off on that ridiculous flower sticker-covered golf cart while Adora is busy with the Nashes. I mean, given what happened to Natalie, the fact that Amma's out there alone is immediately unsettling. And then the narrator decides to follow her. It's like this magnetic pull towards the unknown, towards the darker side of Wind Gap.
And you can't help but wonder, what's driving her? Is it concern for Amma? Curiosity? Maybe even a subconscious desire to confront something, to face the darkness head on?
I think it's all of those things, and maybe even something more. And the way she describes that journey is so visceral, so raw. The changing landscape, that stench she calls shit and stale saliva. You can practically smell it yourself, and it's not pleasant.
It's all very deliberate, very sensory. It's like the author is pulling you into that world, making you experience it along with the narrator.
And then, bam, they arrive at the pig farm. And the description of that processing plant is just brutal. The long, glinty pig holes, the sounds like screams from a rusty well pump. It's all so stark, so disturbing.
It's meant to shock, to make you uncomfortable, and I think it's effective.
Oh, absolutely. And then we get to the nursing sows in those farrowing crates. It's heart-wrenching, the way they're described, constantly inseminated, trapped in these tiny spaces, their bodies basically just churning out piglets. And she says it's like watching them be raped over and over again.
It's a really powerful analogy, and I think it speaks to her own sense of violation, of being trapped, of not having control over her own body, her own life.
And her reaction is so visceral. She says she feels less human witnessing it, complicit somehow. And then you have Amma, who's just standing there watching those piglets swarm the sow. She starts smiling, squirming. It's creepy almost.
It's chilling, really. It raises so many questions about Amma, about what she's internalized, what she finds fascinating, even pleasurable.
It's like she's desensitized to the suffering, or worse, maybe she even identifies with it somehow.
There's definitely a disconnect there, a lack of empathy. That's really disturbing.
The narrator has to get out of there, and on her way out, she has this brief interaction with Jose, the old man at the plant. And she makes this comment about how it seems like jobs are assigned based on ethnicity, The white guy gets to be in the office, the Hispanic guy is stuck with the dirty work.
It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes about the power dynamics at play, the way society often devalues certain groups of people.
It's a reminder that even in the most marginalized spaces, those systems of oppression are still operating. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chapter 7, we're left with this picture of the narrator struggling with her sense of self, her place in the world. Her past is a jumbled mess. Her relationship with her mother is, well, it's messed up, to say the least. And then you have this incredibly disturbing encounter at the pig farm, which just seems to amplify all of her existing anxieties.
It's like she's looking for a way to make sense of it all, to find some kind of meaning in this chaos.
Exactly. So for you, listener, I want you to think about this. How are these things connected? How do her internal struggles connect to the things she's seeing and experiencing in the outside world? Is that feeling of weightlessness a result of her past, her family, or is it something more, something she sees reflected back at her in the harsh realities of the world she inhabits?
What resonates with you? What connections can you draw?
Food for thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.